Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the session on PTE Core, introducing PTE Core. My name is Bartłomiej Janiak, and I'm a teacher trainer and the assessment advisor for Pearson. So today I will share with you all the things that you need to know so that you'll have a chance to prepare effectively for PTE Core. There is a Q&A section. If you have any questions, then probably the best option would be to post them in the Q&A. Depending on the number of questions, I've got my wonderful support in the background. We'll try to answer as many as possible if we'll be in a position to answer the question, but probably some of the questions will be answered during our meeting. So listen carefully as you basically may get the information you are looking for. So the PTE Core, this is the first slide. Actually, it's also really important because it tells you that PTE test of everyday English, okay, are approved by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada for all work and migration visas to Canada. So once you are here and you look at this slide, this is the information you need to remember because it gives you a clear guidance of who could potentially use PTE Core. The people considering moving to Canada or the people considering working in Canada. And these are the only categories. If you think about studying in a different country, if you think about studying in Canada, there will be a different exam, the exam that you are already familiar with, which is PTE Academic. So the PTE, the general introduction of our portfolio, PTE portfolio. So there are several characteristic features of all our PTE exams. First of all, they are very convenient because you can take them with a single 2-hour test and you get your results really, really fast. So it's like around 48 hours. So you don't need to wait several months. There are no exam windows. So the tests are available 365 days per year, so all year round. So there are no exam sessions that you need to pre-book in advance because you can book up to 24 hours in advance. So this is very flexible and convenient. But whenever the last time I was telling about preparation for PTE Academic, so yes, you can book, but take into account the amount of preparation and the amount of things you'll need to learn by the time you get to sit the test. That our tests are really objective and accurate, and there's computer-based marking. Probably you are familiar with, if you are familiar with PTE Academic, on a granular scale, and there is an element of relevance. When it comes to PTE Core, especially I made these 2 words in red because the topics relate to everyday life situations. So this is the biggest difference you'll need to know if you'd like to compare PTE Academic and PTE Core. The best option would be not to compare at all because PTE Academic is academic English and PTE Core is everyday life situations. So the situation that all of you around the world, wherever you are, will be familiar with because they happen to you at work in everyday life situation. I'm gonna tell you about it. And of course, we do have integrated tasks that assess more than one language skills. And since the test is taken at the testing center, so we go to great lengths to make sure that we eliminate any fraudulent behavior. So there is a set of regulations that you need to follow to be able to take the test at the testing center. The delivery and the booking procedure is similar in all PTE Academic, PTE portfolio. So booking either online or by phone, then you access the range of preparation materials. I'm gonna tell you what type of preparation materials are available to you. Then you take the test. Within the 2 days, you'll get your results and the scores are ready, and you can share the scores with the institution you are applying to. So there is a similar process through all the PTE tests. So the portfolio, probably you know PTE Academic, which consists of PTE Academic, PTE Academic Online, and PTE Academic UKVI. Our newest child, if I can say like this is the PTE Core, measuring general English. So I'm going to be underscoring this information that it's general English, not academic, because it immediately sheds a light on what kind of preparation you should engage with. So you need to work with materials that work with general English. So the general English course books, these are the information that you can base on your preparation. And you need to be familiarized with the question types that are in PTE Core, in the same way that you need to be familiarized with the questions that appear in PTE Academic. And in the same way, you need to be familiarized with the questions that appear on PTE Home. So this is basically the exposure to question types, so that you know what to expect. The recommendations for different tests. So PTE Academic, as you will see, accepted for Australian, New Zealand governments for all visas, by Canadian government for study permits. So study permits Canada. If you plan to study in Canada, so PTE Academic is the test for you. And of course, around the world by various universities, if people are planning to study the university in a foreign country, so they need to go to the website, they check the requirements, and they take PTE Academic. PTE Academic UKVI is accepted for visas and study below degree level. There is this PTE Academic Online, so you can take this test at home, proctor version. So accepted by institutions for entry to study, but you need to check at the particular institution's website whether they recognize PTE Academic Online, or you need to take the test at the testing center. And then there is PTE Core. So I hope that now you will know it. So it's accepted by the Canadian government for all work and migration visas. So you're planning to work in Canada, you're planning to move in Canada, PTE Core is the right choice for you. And we've got PTE Home, which is accepted for family and settlement visa. So this is the overall PTE portfolio. And now just being very specific about PTE Core, the overview. It can be taken around the world at various PTE test centers. So you need to book the test and you need to go to the test center to take the test. Destination Canada, and you have 2 options. So this information will appear several times so that you will know and you'll remember, because when I observe some study groups, Facebook groups, etc., from time to time, people do ask, okay, PTE Core, what is the purpose? And looking at the answers provided, some people already know it, and some people still have questions. So if you think about studying in Canada, PTE Academic is the right test for you. If you think about working in Canada and migrating to Canada, PTE Core is the choice that you need to make. And if you are still not sure, because, well, you see the webinar, you observe, you see the slides, you try to remember, but later on you'll just forget the information. Once you'll go to our page, you see this arrow, the top right corner. So there is an option when you click to book the test, and I'd like you to test it for yourself, even to see how it works. So the system will give you a very clear guidance, offering 2 simple questions. Where do you want to go? So if you click Canada, because let's suppose that you are the person willing to go to Canada, then the system will ask the question like, what do you want to do? So what's your purpose? So if you select, for example, work and settle, then you'll see the information. Your test for work, Canada, is PTE Core. And then you will be able to check availability and book the test. So we have a very simple system leading you very step by step and showing you the right test for you according to the purpose that you have in your life, in your professional or private development. So very simple tools and steps. You can check it yourself whether it works. You can select a different country and different destination, and you will end up with a recommendation of a different test. So now, well, the comparison, but the best option would be just to make sure that PTE Core is separate, PTE Academic is separate, and I will tell you why in a second. So the first most important difference is PTE Core is general English and PTE Academic, academic English. When it comes to PTE Academic, so your preparation needs to be very specific. So you need to dwell in the academic reality. So you need to use course books which are academic English oriented. So you'll need to deal in academic English in your individual or group preparation. When it comes to PTE Core, this is the general English. So the very good foundation to start with, depending on the level that you are having right now, is like you can use the general English course book and you can supplement the general English course book or your teacher with exposure to question types which appear in PTE Core tests. So this is the difference to remember. There are 4 skills assessed on PTE Academic and PTE Core. So there are integrated skills as well. So speaking, writing, reading and listening, which is obvious. These tests naturally test those things because these are the skills which are used in everyday communication, work communication, and academic communication. So the general content, it means this is the content to everyday life, the content of workplace, and some study situation. Some study situation, for example, like evening courses, that you will need to deal with some situation on one of the trainings, and I will give you an example in a second, but they are non-academic. Okay, so the subjects that appear within the question types will be quite familiar to the people around the world, okay? And the materials are authentic, so they will have, as a test taker, you'll have a chance to watch a video, you'll listen to the podcast, so they are taken from internet announcements, so there are, as you see, so there are examples of automated helplines when you call and you need to arrange some things, there are work meetings and broadcasts, so the general English, everyday life situation, workplace situation. So if you work, just you need to think of all the possible workplace situations that can happen to you, like having a conversation with your colleague or having a meeting at work, doing a presentation, writing an email, because this is something which is happening on a daily basis. So the general English content versus the academic content. So once you prepare for academic English, so you need to search for the academic content. So you need to search for the open lectures, for example, which are provided via the internet by some universities. You will need to search for the academic articles. You will need to search for the academic presentations, and there are different language skills used. Okay, there are quite specific to academic reality. PTE Core, this is the things that are happening, I would say, around us in everyday life situations. So there are 19 question types, and PTE Academic, it has 20 question types. So 2 question types were exchange, and 1 question type, which is the highlight correct summary, which is the quite academic one, is not present on PTE Core, but you will see the question types in a second. The candidates get between 52 and 64 questions. The test is around 2 hours, so a single sitting, around 2 hours you take the test. And it's automatically scored, and the scoring from scale, the scoring is on a scale from 10 to 90, and the scores are valid for 2 years. So the validity of the PTE Core is 2 years. The test centers around the world, And the PTE Core is not available as a remote proctor test. So this is the most the important information. If you are planning to take PTE Core, you need to take it at one of our PTE test centers. The bookings, similar to the whole PTE portfolio and to the whole PTE assessment products, over the phone, available online 24 hours in advance, so really big flexibility. The test fees are set locally, so they're the same as PTE Academic and PTE Academic UKVI. And recognition PTE Core, once again, accepted by Canadian government for work and migration visas. So these are the two routes that you need to consider PTE Core: planning to work in Canada and planning to live in Canada. Okay, preparation, because as with all language tests, regardless of the level of English, it's quite reasonable to prepare yourself for the test. So now you know that this is general English. Now you know this is the workplace situation and non-academic situations. So you have some idea that, okay, so they are not academic, it's not academic reality, everyday life situations. So this is one of the foundation, one of the blocks. And now what you can do, what you can use to start your preparation journey for PTE Core. The first one, if you want to just get a flavor of a few questions, ideally 5 questions. So there is an option to do it on our website. So you can take and you can just have a sample of 5 questions to go quickly through questions like fill in the blanks, reorder paragraphs, multiple choice, highlight incorrect words, and select missing words. And so that you could have a look at this everyday life situation. One of the options for me as a person would be potentially preparing for PTE Core for any international exam is like, the one option is be familiarized with the question types, but second one, use those question types which are presented there to learn about the content, to learn about the themes that are presented in the question types. So even you can get a flavor out of these 5 questions, but it's not the end. The second option, once you go to our website, you will have all the videos about all the questions and all the questions that you will be presented with when taking PTE Core. So expectations, the instructions, and there is a video to listen to. So step 1 is getting a flavor. Step 2, I would say, is like you need to watch all the videos. If you are familiarized with PTE Academic, because maybe you've taken PTE Academic some time ago, as we'll see in a second, the question types, it will be quite easy for you to get into PTE Core because the question types will be almost the same. But still, if you are new to PTE Core, just go through the question type videos to learn your expectations. Okay, so that you learn what you need to do. Then there is a PTE Core test taker handbook. So the material which is available online, or you can print it. I work online all the time, so online is my reality, but at the very same time, I like the paper. So I keep reading traditional books. I do have the e-book reader because it saves time, but whenever I have a chance, instead of a computer, I just print the material and I read it. So you can download the test taker handbook. So this is all the information in one place about the booking procedures, about the policies for cancellation, the refunds, special requirements, about the things, this is very important for you as a potential test takers, about the things you need to know on a test day. Okay, what are the things I need to make sure that I address before? How to book the test in a proper way, so that when you present, for example, an ID at the testing center, so you need to know what type of ID is required and what type of the ID allows you to see the test, so that you wouldn't be surprised that you spend some time on preparation, you make a booking and you forget your ID and you won't be able to to take the test. You'll have the information on the skills profile, on the score report. So the very concise pile of information to start thinking about PTE Core. So we've got the flavor, we've got the videos of the question types, we've got the test taker handbook. And when you go to a page, this is another recommendation. Of course, don't do everything in a single sitting, because the bookings are very flexible. So you can plan way in advance. I imagine the person is not making a decision to travel to Canada to work overnight. So usually people have this type of plans long in advance. It can happen that you will wake up the next day and say, okay, I'm gonna move to Canada because this is where my life is. It's possible, but usually people make this type of decisions way in advance. So you can distribute your time in just familiarizing yourself. So you can take online practice test. So the online practice test, it will take you through all the 19 question types that are in PTE Core. So you will go through the questions one by one. You will have a chance to compare your answers with the sample answers, and for reading and listening, you will get a feedback whether your responses are correct or incorrect. So this is a very nice and gentle exposure to the question types on PTE Core, and this test is for free. Okay, so you need to go to our page and you need to just log in, and you can take the test to see how does it feel to go through the PTE Core question types. Another document that we prepared for you is like a test tips. So the first one is like quite, I would say, administration wise. So all the formal requirements, all the samples and the hints about preparation, about booking procedures. So the test tips take you through all the question types and offer you tips, as the name suggests, the things you need to remember when it comes to the speaking, writing, listening, and reading. But as the arrow shows on the slide, there is also a study tip. So what you'll find there is like you'll find a mini recommendation of a potential study procedure or study strategy that you can implement in your preparation period. Okay, so when it comes to the read aloud, you'll just have an information saying, as you see, that you need to develop a habit of reading aloud. Okay, so there are some question types which are very natural, and some question types you need to be accustomed to. So you need to just get in the habit of doing it. So there is a question without answering, when was the last time you were reading something aloud, but you read every day. So if you read every day, this is a wonderful opportunity just to supplement one extra element, and you will just give yourself an exposure of reading aloud. And of course, there is a recommendation on what type of materials, depending on the level, just growing up in difficulty. So the test tips, the document, all the question types, this is available on our website, and those study tips, feel free to experiment with them in your preparation period. And the final document is something we all need to know when you prepare and when you work, for example, with a tutor running the PTE Core preparation course. So this is the score guide. So those who are familiar with PTE Academic, they know that there is a score guide and there are scoring criteria. So you'll have a table by the end of the score guide, and you'll have the scoring criteria for all the question types. So this is just to familiarize yourself. What are the scoring criteria? What are the expectations? What are the formal requirements? What about the number of words, for example, you're expected to write when doing a task which is about writing an email? So the score test taker score guide, and this is also available for free. You can download it from the website. And the final bit is a free online course. So these are the resources that just we've prepared, and they are at your disposal. So all you need to do is probably to manage to use your self-control and to manage the time effectively, and just to assign a portion of time to access the material, to read them, to click through them, and just use them. So if you want to attend this course, which is for free, you can do it in your own time. No, so it's not like this. You need to spend 3 hours sitting all the time, and you cannot take any break. You do it at your own pace, self-study. There are 2 wonderful presenters. There is a video section. So there is a video section that explains all the question types to you. Okay, so when you take the online test, so you'll be presented with the question types, and you'll have a chance to go through the question types, and then you'll get a feedback, for example, correct or incorrect, or you'll have a chance to compare with the sample answers. Here, you will also have a chance to practice. As you see one of the screenshots, that you will hear a sentence. Please repeat the sentence exactly as you hear it, and you will hear the sentence once only. But above all, there will be the introductory video telling you about these question types, telling you about the requirements, telling you about the scoring, and then will be the presenters and the language expert will be taking you through the effective strategies how to approach this type of question type. Okay, so you'll have various pieces of advice and various test taking strategies and some additional resources. So all the question types accompanied by the video, by the chance to practice, and the study tips and the effective test taking strategies. So I highly recommend basically to enroll on this course and to go through this course just to build your experience towards PTE Core. On a test day, so this is the requirement, but this is like international tests. So as I told you at the very beginning, there are some specific procedures and requirements. So that's why you need to be really familiarized with the test taker handbook and the test center requirements. So if it says that you must arrive at the test center 30 minutes before, and you'll be guided by the test administrator, and you'll have to show your ID, and you'll have the digital photograph and signature and the palm scan taken. These are the security measures. So this is the element, one of the blocks of the effective preparation. Not only to master your language skills, not only to master the question types, this is the major part, but also to be really familiar and comfortable with the regulations, so that you wouldn't be surprised. There is no the worst scenario is like there is a test taker prepares effectively, confident in the language skills, and fails to remember about the test requirements, and is not able to see the test because of the lack of appropriate attention given to the formal requirements when it comes to taking the test. Okay, so these are the information that are available on the website, and that are available on the test taker, in the test taker handbook, the expectations. The testing rules applicable to all computer-based tests. So only 1 attempt is permitted for each question. So there is nothing like you've got second thought and it's like, okay, I will go back and I will reverse 3 question types backwards because I think I made a mistake. Once you can only move forward, of course, once you do something like an email or you do some writing, you can edit the text, or you can work with the text according to the time limit. But once you move forwards, that you will not be able to go backwards. So there is a timer to help monitor progress, and there is, since it's taken at the testing center, so you'll get the pen and a whiteboard for note taking, because the note taking is one of the really important skills. But I would say it's not only for the test, but it's one of the most important life skills, effective note taking, as you'll be going through various life scenarios at work, academic, when it comes to academic English, and general everyday situations. So become really effective at note taking skills. This is one piece of advice that I would leave with you. The test format. So this is what you need to know about the test format. This is what you'll see in the PTE Core test tips. This is what you'll see in the PTE Core score guide. So you'll have got speaking, writing, reading, and listening. And these are the question types. So as I told you before, if you are familiar with PTE Academic, it will be quite easy for you to understand the question types because they are almost the same. If you remember that I told you that we don't have the highlight correct summary. And in PTE Academic, we have write essay because this is the academic structure. And once you'll be studying at the university, you'll be asked to write essays. Everyday workplace situations, usually we don't write essays. So that's why you've got write email. So you'll have to write email and email, the familiarity of around the world. Probably most of us use emails, but there are specific requirements and conventions. So you can have formal or informal. So that's why the language tips and the score guide is quite important for you in your study preparation. And there is one extra situation because extra question type, because in PTE Academic, we have retail lecture. Yeah, the academic reality, you listen to the academic lecture professor teaching a subject and your friend has been absent and you need to retell lecture. So the lecture is academic reality. So in PTE Core, you'll have response to a situation. So you'll be presented with a situation, everyday or workplace situation, and you'll be given some time to think, and then you'll have to respond as if you were in this situation. Everyday life situation, workplace situation, non-academic study situations. These are the samples. So for example, if you look at the repeat sentence, general English, but the typical sentence that you'll meet in everyday life, then you'll have you have a sample of summarizing the email using between 25 or 50 words. So reading emails. So if you're not used to reading emails, I would suggest start getting in this email conversation with different people at work, in everyday life, just to practice the forms, practice the reading elements, and practice writing emails. Reading aloud and describing image. Okay, so for example, when it comes to describe image, you might see, for example, a map, and you might be asked to describe in detail how to get from point A to B, which can happen in life situation. You might be presented, for example, with a process or with a recipe that presents you how to make something, how to cook something, for example, and you'll need to describe the process. For example, you could be presented with an option with an image describing a process of recycling that is happening, that we do get leaflets, how we need to recycle things. And then you'll need to describe the process. So the very general content, very workplace content. These are the elements that I would recommend just focusing on. Response situation, for example, first of all, if you go to this online practice test, and then if you take free online course, and you can just move immediately to the response situation, and you can learn about the sample situations that potentially you'll need to be familiarized with. For example, imagine that you work in a company, typical situation, my situation, everyday life situation, and your manager sends you an email and says, hey, Bartek, we need this report by Tuesday at the latest. And you are the person responsible for writing the report, and you'll have a call with your manager, but you know that your team is lagging behind, that they don't have the exact numbers to complete the report. So you need to call to your manager and tell that, unfortunately, the report will not be available by Tuesday, and you'll need to ask for extra 2 or 3 days. The situation that happen daily in various branches of life. So this is the sample situation. Or another sample situation is like, imagine that you are the homeowner and you rent your house to your students, to students that can come to live in your place. They pay the rent. And as a homeowner, as a landlord, from time to time, you visit the house to see if everything is okay. And upon one of the visits, you just enter the room and you see that it's like really dirty, that the carpet is destroyed, whatever, etc., etc. So this is the potential situation. And as a homeowner, you will need to respond to this situation. So you'll need to think, what would you say? How would you say it? How would you inform your students, that those people living there, that you don't agree to this type of treatment and you don't agree to this type of conditions? And then you'll need to know whether it's more formal or is it more informal. So typical sample situations that that could happen to us in daily or the workplace life. Okay, the scoring, all the PTE assessment products. So this is the computer-based scoring. You'll get your scores. So this is automatic scoring. There is a score guide which gives you the guidance of what are the things you're expected to, and then you'll get your results within 2 days. The point to remember when it comes to PTE Academic, when it comes to PTE Core, a variety of accents and English domains are used in the training process of the engine. So the test taker, so you can respond with any accent and you can use common spelling conventions. So you shouldn't be afraid. And this is the question that we've been asked endlessly. And we endlessly reply that the accents do not matter because the engine has been trained across variety of accents. So you as a potential test takers, you shouldn't be afraid that, okay, I don't sound really native and it will affect my score. There are different traits that you need to address. You need to speak clearly. You need to speak in a natural manner, and your vocal presentation should be comprehensible so that the other side would understand you. So the accent is not really the key feature to remember. And of course, the score guide, you'll get the score report, you'll have the score report code, you'll get the overall scores, you've got the communicative scores, which are, and the score is on a granular scale from 10 to 90 and is aligned to Canadian language benchmark. So when you are planning to go to Canada to work or to study in Canada, you will need to visit the Canadian language benchmark website to see to see the alignment and to see the requirements which are presented for the particular purpose. And of course, all the candidates, once you get your scores, they will also have a chance to look at the skills profile so that they can potentially use the skills profile for further development. And the Canadian language benchmark scoring, so you've got the CLB scale and you've got the PTE Core scores which are required. So if you go around 7 or 8, which is the requirement, so you'll have a chance to know what type of requirement of scoring for PTE Core is essential for you. And the best option for you to get to know the Canadian language benchmark is go to their website. You will get there the description of the CLB benchmark. You will see the description of the levels. You will find, which is quite useful from the test taker's perspective, you will find samples of answers there on various levels, and you'll also find can-do statements there. Okay, so you'll be able to download can-do statements. You'll be able to familiarize yourself with particular levels, because this is the thing you need to know when you'll be taking PTE Core, because, well, the scores required for visa and migration is the scores required assigned by the Canadian government. So you'll need to know what you aim for. Okay, and it's good to check the website, IRCC website regularly for any updates. From the test taker's perspective, the the PTE Core website. This is the even before. So clicking through I sometimes suggest click through everything. Just learn about the overview, learn about the test format, the test taker, the preparation tab is for you. So the test tips, the handbook, the other resources, the free online test, the online course, those documents that I told you about, everything will be in one place. So getting access, I would say this is the very first step. Well, the very first step is basically to know where you want to go or why you want to go there, and just to make sure that PTE Core is the right choice for you. Because if you're thinking to moving to a different country, I'm going to repeat it again because maybe some person just joined 10 minutes later, then you just need to click this option that I shared with you, book again, select your destination, select the purpose, and the system will guide you and will show you the best test for you. From the preparation perspective, the preparation folder is the folder that you need to address, and you need to be familiarized with it. So the next steps, this is a very simple booking procedure. So you need to create a My PTE account. You'll need to you will receive an email with the login details, and then you will just log in and book the test. And please remember that this is one of the requirements. That's why it's essential for you to be quite familiar with the test taker handbook and the formal requirements. So as you see on the slide, that the test taker's profile details must match those on the official ID. Okay, if you provide different details while booking the test, and then you present an ID with different details at the testing center, don't be surprised that you won't be able to sit the test, because as the information says, they must match exactly the information, then they must match exactly as the ones on your official ID. And there are several questions to worth addressing. Is like ensuring the smooth ensuring the smooth process and the smooth start. So familiarity with the testing procedure. Okay, so these are, as I told you, the details on their passports that can happen. That basically, for some reason, the people provide different details. If you are the test takers, and if you want to be really comfortable with it, be very accurate and provide the same, even in bold, that they must match their passport. The second option about the authentic source material, yes, the test takers, as you'll be taking the test, so you'll be presented with the authentic materials. So they are taken from wide range of resources, different websites, newspapers, magazines, radio programs, podcasts, and everything is at the general interest level. So yet again, the biggest difference, PTE Core is general English, everyday life situation, workplace situation, and some study situation, but non-academic. Okay, so this is the point to remember. And then sometimes people ask, like, can I prepare for PTE Core with PTE Academic preparation materials? Because there are similar question types and yes, there are 19 question types. One question is missing, and 2 questions are, I would say, replaced. Yeah, and the rest, the question type in format is the same. But probably, and I hope that you already know it right now, that it's probably not the best option to use PTE Academic to prepare for PTE Core, and it's not the best option to use PTE Core materials to prepare for PTE Academic, because once and again, PTE Academic is academic English, academic reality. So if you're using this type of content, for some test takers, it could be challenging, basically, to use this content, because my experience as a trainer and the preparation provider is that in general, as long as I remember, from the elementary level, there is a single I would say, developmental path, the single progression that people start with the general English. They work on general English from elementary level to intermediate, the advanced, and then if they need, they switch into academic English. Okay. Hardly ever I get the situation that people start with academic English at the very beginning. And then at some point they make the decision, I don't need academic English at all. I need the general English. Okay. So the path is usually the general English into the academic English. So the best option would be to stick to separate preparation materials, the general English for PTE Core and the academic English for PTE Academic, just to be on the safe side. And the last one, don't be late, basically. Like, how long before the test time should the test taker arrive? Don't be late, at least 30 minutes before. So once you book the test, once you remember about all the formal requirements, make sure that you arrive at the testing center at least 30 minutes before. Pay attention to the rush hour. You are your own expert. You know your travel reality. You've got travel, you know your travel possibilities. So make sure that you plan this in advance as well, because there is no better feeling or worse feeling than you know your formal requirements, you are well prepared, you know the questions, the details match the ones that you present on your official ID, and you forget about you forget about planning the way to the testing center, and just you come late because of a traffic jam. Okay, plan in advance at least 30 minutes. If you can be earlier, then that's good. That would work on your side. So this is the very sample and the very flavor, I would say, for those who are new to PTE Core, for those who are considering taking PTE Core. So you need to, if you want, of course, you can go to the pearsonpte.com and you can learn more about the portfolio and think about whether the PTE Core is the choice that you need to go for. And I hope that right now you know what is the reason, okay? And you need to take PTE Core if you plan to work in Canada, if you plan to migrate to Canada. This is the general English. I've shared with you the resources. I've shared with you the materials. You know where to find the free online course. You know where to find the online test. I hope that you know where to find the online videos per particular question types. I hope that you will get in touch with the test tips. So you will see the self-study tips, and then you'll be able just to implement the knowledge into the effective preparation procedures. And that will be all when it comes to PTE Core introduction. Okay, and just I open the Q&A, and yes, this is happening from time to time, and in this exam preparation groups, yes. And since the test is new, so is PTE Core accepted for study visa for Canada and Australia? At the very beginning, I shared with you that when you take PTE Core, you take it to work or live in Canada, not to study in Canada and not to study in Australia. If you think of Australia, PTE Academic, this is the choice for you, okay? So that's why I shared with you this very simple, that there is a button in the top right corner, book a test. So it's for free, you don't make any commitment, but I want you just to click through all those options, select your destination, select the purpose, and then the system will show the right test for you, okay? So this is the option. One of the person asked about, there are similar question types, yes, and the choice for you is, once we finish the webinar, is just you need to open the score guide, you need to download the score guide and see the requirements for every question type, okay? So this is the best option you can do, is like not to compare, because you need to be sure what is the right test for you. If it's PTE Academic, you deal with the score guide for PTE Academic. If it's PTE Core, you deal with the score guide for PTE Core without comparisons, because comparison doesn't make really much sense. So be sure about your choice and then use the materials that are provided, which are assigned to this particular option. Online practice test is free. Yes, Sonia, you can just go to our website and you can click through the test. And once we finish the webinar, you can experience the question types and to see for your overall, to see the overall exposure to the question types. Do we need different ID to book PTE Core? If I get the question right, basically, you need to provide valid details once booking the test, and those details must match the ones that you present at the testing center. Okay, so you cannot book a test with one ID and then present a different one with different details. This is not the choice I would recommend, because you wouldn't be able to see the test. Where a candidate can practice a lot of questions for free. So Vimal, so you have the several options to choose from at the very beginning. You've got the free online practice test. So you've got the practice there. You've got the study tips, which are the test tips, and you've got the study tips. So study tips were designed to help you implement the strategies for the question types. And you've got the free online practice test. To go through the test, you'll have a sample you'll have a chance to sample the question types there. And please remember that once you're familiar with the question types and the general English, you can easily, because I've had the chance to go through some language course books, general English course books, and you can use general English course books and supplement them with the question type structure to practice. But in all recommendations, there are two options. You go for individual self-study, which from my perspective, not only about PTE Core, but from my perspective as a student, self-study, there are a lot of distractors. There is a challenge to keep the motivation. And people say, I'm going to be studying regularly, and they end up studying one day before the test, whether they should be studying 3 months before the test. So if you are very highly motivated and you have high level of self-control, then self-study, yes. And then I would recommend getting in touch with a tutor so that it would take you through the language level progression. How about using templates? Those things happen daily, and I don't know why. But my answer in short is don't use templates, period. That's it. If you're using template, it means that you are doing something which is not the right choice. The last week, I had a webinar on myths for PTE Academic, and the template is just a form of memorizing and becoming very inflexible, becoming very fixed, mindset oriented, lacking the ability to produce your own genuine reply. So templates, no, they are not recommended. And well, they could sound easy, but in the long term, they cause more harm than good. Through all the educational spheres that I've been involved in, any language level, any subject that I've been through, various studies, local and international ones, whenever there was a template, the template was sooner or later realized that, well, causing more harm than good. So nope, I wouldn't be using templates. That's it. I didn't understand the change in the question types. Okay, so Sanya, there are two question types which are in PTE Core and they are not in PTE Academic. There is response to a situation, okay, and in PTE Academic you had retail lecture, okay, because of the academic reality. So in PTE Core you'll have respond to the situation I told you about, as you are the landowner, or you'll have to you'll need to respond to a situation at the workplace. And the second change is like you'll need to write email. in PTE Core. You will not need to write essay, because email is very everyday life, very workplace English scenario. So this is the only change. That the rest of the questions are the same. Is the training program for PTE teachers? Yes. From time to time, we organize trainings for teachers, and you will hear from us for sure about training designs for teachers who aim running PTE Core preparation courses. And then we'll take you through all the question types, but we'll also show you how can you build exposure to PTE Core questions within the general English content. Which resources? Yeah, the resources I presented there, the first choice would be to go to the website to access all the resources. And remember, this is general English content, authentic content. So actually everything which is around you in general English would be suitable to prepare. Just dive in the everyday general English. So I guess that would be all when it comes to the very first webinar. And for sure, Gayafree, I think, will get back at some point to our test takers, for those who go through the preparation path, and for those who aim to take the test, for those who aim to work in Canada, to live in Canada, and probably for those who aim to study in Canada, but then they will have to take PTE Academic. So thanks a lot for being with us. Thanks a lot for the questions. And we'll be in touch with you probably at some point in future. Thank you once again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.